Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 3, the grand finale of our epic deep dive series into the Royal Thai Navy's massive $531 million frigate procurement program. Over the last 2 videos, we watched the 3,600-ton heavyweights from Turkey and South Korea battle it out, and we witnessed the ultimate legacy clash between the original builders of Thailand's flagship and aircraft carrier. But today, we are throwing the past and all that sweet nostalgia completely out the window. The final 2 contenders we are looking at today aren't here to sell you on their past achievements. They're putting their vision of the future directly on the bidding table. Forget the old mindset that the Thai Navy absolutely must buy its weapons from Western superpowers or traditional allies. In the modern world, technology and geopolitical leverage have shifted dramatically. For this $531 million bid, the Navy isn't just looking for some steel that floats. They are actively hunting for a game changer. They want a platform that will solve the military's long-term structural problems. And that brings us to today's ultimate showdown. The smart, forward-thinking neighbor who intimately knows ASEAN waters, going head-to-head against the incredibly wealthy, heavy-spending shipbuilding syndicate from the Middle East. Let's kick things off with the red corner, ST Engineering from Singapore. They're our high-tech neighbors just down the block. A lot of people might underestimate Singapore because of its size, wondering how they could possibly build warships to rival global superpowers. But let me tell you, this is one of the most advanced defense technology companies on the planet. For this bid, they're bringing their highly futuristic Vanguard series to the fight, specifically anticipated to be the Vanguard 130. The ultimate selling point that ST Engineering is using to ruthlessly target the global military's biggest weakness is manpower. In an era of declining birth rates and challenging military recruitment, navies worldwide are facing a severe shortage of sailors. The Vanguard is specifically designed to be the ultimate warship for the AI era. It features extreme automation, allowing it to reduce the active crew size by nearly half compared to a standard frigate, while maintaining 100% of its combat lethality. Think about it. Over a 30-year life cycle, the military will save an astronomical amount of budget on salaries, benefits, and logistics. Furthermore, as an ASEAN neighbor, absolutely no one understands the weather patterns, the depths of the Gulf of Thailand and the Andaman Sea, and the regional maritime behavior better than Singapore. Now let's cross over to the blue corner to look at the most aggressive investor in today's defense market, TAIS Shipbuilding from Turkey. First, you need to understand that TAIS isn't just a single shipbuilding company. They're a massive syndicate, an alliance of 3 national shipbuilding giants, Anadolu, Sedef, and Safin. If you still can't picture their scale, this is the exact same group that built the TCG Anadolu, the world's first drone carrier warship for the Turkish Navy. By joining forces, their naval engineering capabilities are easily on par with the world's top superpowers. The design that TAIS has submitted for this bid is the Bora 115. The core selling point from this Bosphorus conglomerate is absolute strategic independence, or being ITAR-Free. The weapon systems, the radars, and the software are 100% indigenously developed by Turkey. This means that Thailand does not need to ask any foreign superpower for permission to use it. There's no fear of locked software codes, end-user restrictions, or being hit by spare parts sanctions during a conflict. This level of strategic freedom is incredibly rare and almost impossible to get from Western defense contractors. To give you a crystal clear picture of what the future looks like when these 2 visions collide, I've put together a head-to-head spec comparison. Let's break down the details together. Looking at this head-to-head comparison, we are going to break it down line by line. Let's start with the physical dimensions and hull structure. The displacement is actually very close. The Vanguard 130 sits at roughly 3,200 tons, while the Bora 115 is around 3,000 tons. But the massive difference is in the length. The Vanguard 130 stretches out to 130 meters, utilizing a highly sleek design focused heavily on stealth and evading enemy radar. Meanwhile, the Bora 115 from Türkiye takes a much more aggressive and muscular approach, standing at 115 meters, prioritizing deck space for a heavy weapon payload. Moving on to the brains of the ship, the combat management system, Singapore boasts its proprietary Nerva system, which excels at integrating artificial intelligence to assist the commander's decision-making process, drastically reducing the required crew size. On the flip side, Türkiye is deploying its highly prized Advent system, which has been rigorously proven in actual combat theaters to be 100% reliable and stable. For the heart of the ships, both opted for a CODAD propulsion system, relying entirely on diesel engines. They are neck and neck in top speed, with Singapore claiming 28+ knots and Türkiye right behind at 27+ knots. When we look at the sensors and radars, Singapore goes all in on stealth, utilizing a cutting-edge AESA radar seamlessly hidden inside an enclosed mast to maximize its low radar cross-section. Türkiye, however, brings a highly advanced 3D radar from their domestic powerhouse, Aselsan. Now let's look at their teeth. Both ships feature the exact same main gun, the 76mm Super Rapid. But the real divergence is in the anti-ship missiles. Singapore maintains an open architecture, ready to support standard Western or Israeli missiles, making it incredibly easy to integrate into the Thai Navy's existing arsenal. Türkiye, however, is heavily pushing its indigenous armory, specifically the highly dangerous Atmaca stealth anti-ship missiles. For air defense, Singapore's vertical launching system, VLS, comfortably supports Western missiles like the Mika or ESSM. Türkiye utilizes its domestic mid-last system, designed exclusively for their own Hisar family of missiles. Finally, for the close-in weapon system, CWAS, Singapore remains flexible, allowing for European standards, while Türkiye is ready to bolt on their twin-barrel Gökdeniz 35mm or a 25mm gun. And we definitely cannot ignore the aviation facilities. Both ships easily accommodate a 10-ton helicopter, but what truly makes them futuristic is that both shipyards highlight dedicated platforms and integration for launching and controlling UAV drones, completely answering the demands of modern naval warfare. But the real fascination doesn't stop there. If we dive deeper into their future warfare philosophies, I'm telling you right now, they are throwing the old tactical playbooks straight into the fire. Let's start with Singapore. Beyond the AI crew reduction, the hidden masterpiece of the Vanguard 130 is its mission bay, a highly modular multi-purpose space. In 20 or 30 years, maritime threats are going to evolve constantly. Having a mission bay means the Navy can literally swap out modular shipping containers to change the ship's entire role. Today, it can load a minesweeping module. Tomorrow, it's a floating field hospital. The next day, it's a launch pad for sub-hunting drones. You are buying incredible flexibility. Geopolitically speaking, operating the same high-tech specs as Singapore deeply strengthens ASEAN intelligence sharing and joint exercises, creating an ironclad maritime wall that superpowers will have to respect. Now look at the sheer ambition of Türkiye. By offering the Bora 115, the TAIS group doesn't just see Thailand as a customer, they see Thailand as a critical puzzle piece in the Indo-Pacific. What Türkiye is actually building is an unmanned warfare ecosystem. Pulling from their success in building the TCG Anadolu drone carrier, the Bora 115 is designed to act as a mothership or command node at sea. It doesn't just fight alone, it can control swarms of aerial drones and unmanned surface vessels, USVs, surrounding it, using them to strike targets or act as radar decoys. This is highly lethal and incredibly unpredictable. If Thailand signs with Türkiye, they instantly gain access to this 5-star tactical capability. However, the most critical factor that policymakers use to determine the winner of a $531 million project isn't top speed or main guns. It is the economic offset policy. The ironclad requirement is that the winner must build at least 20% of the ship locally in Thailand and provide deep engineering technology transfer. And this is where the battlefield goes nuclear. Looking at Singapore, they have a long-standing history of cooperation with the Thai industrial sector. A win for Singapore means Thailand gets to learn advanced automation systems and stealth shipbuilding technology. This is smart nerd engineering knowledge that will instantly modernize Thai shipyards to developed nation standards. But if we pivot to TAIS from Turkey, we are looking at the ultimate heavy spender. For Turkey, Thailand is the most strategic gateway to penetrate the ASEAN arms market. Because of that, they are ready to drop massive investments. They are willing to hand over highly advanced tech, open up the source codes for the combat management systems, and establish joint venture production lines in Thailand to serve as a future export hub. This isn't just buying a ship. This is buying a massive, exponential leap forward for Thailand's domestic defense industry. Ultimately, the fact that the Royal Thai Navy received bids from 6 global titans, including Turkey, South Korea, Spain, and Singapore, is absolute proof that Thailand holds immense geopolitical leverage on the world stage. If this $531 million budget is managed carefully under strict offset policy conditions, it will not be wasted money. It will be a monumental investment that creates local jobs, generates revenue, and instills massive pride in the Thai shipbuilding industry. And that brings us to the end of our series, everyone. After going punch for punch across all 3 episodes, I really want to know your perspective. If you had the power to make the final decision, which shipyard would you sign this $531 million contract with? Would it be the 3,600-ton Dark Horse from Turkey, the massive Ocean 40F upgrade from South Korea, the premium NATO Tech Alpha 3000 from Spain, the futuristic Vanguard from Singapore, or the highly aggressive Bora 115? Drop your favorite ship in the comments below and tell me exactly why. I'll be reading all of your thoughts. If you guys enjoy this kind of straight-talking, deep-dive analysis into the geopolitics behind global deals, make sure you smash that subscribe button, leave a like, and hit the notification bell. It really supports the channel and helps me bring you more premium content. That wraps up our epic Thai frigate series. I'll catch you guys with a brand new hot topic in the next video. See you then.